I'd like to welcome you to the Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen's presentation of the 2024 warrant articles. Just like to remind everybody that our deliberative session is going to be on February 6th, right here in the Great Hall, Town Hall, and that our voting will take place on March 12th here at the Great Hall in the Town Hall. So I'd like to ask everybody to come support those, vote and come have your input at the deliberative session. So we'll begin with our presentation of the warrant articles. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. So go over a review of the 2024 proposed warrant articles. We have a total of 25 warrant articles this year. Warrant article number 1 will be our elections. Warrant article 2 will be a zoning article. Article 3 will be a petition zoning article. And Article 4 is going to be our first warrant article for 2024 that was approved by the Board of Selectmen. This slide depicts all of the warrant articles as you can see in this slide. Article number 4 is a bond, therefore it does not have any tax rate impact for the year 2024. And then the remainder of the warrant articles are laid out here. If all warrant articles were to pass, the estimated tax rate impact would be $7.28 per thousand of assessed valuation. The first warrant article to take under consideration for review today is going to be Article 4, the Port Wetland drainage upgrades. Linda Murray is going to present, and Steve Randall and I will speak to the article.
Article 4, Port Wetland Drainage, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,200,000 for the purpose of securing drainage easements in Port Wetland and for engineering and construction of an adequate stormwater drainage system. Further, to authorize the issuance of $769,710 in bonds and notes for this project, in accordance with the provisions of RSA 33, the Municipal Finance Act. Also, to further authorize the Board of Selectmen to issue, negotiate, sell, deliver such bonds or notes, and to determine the rate of interest thereon, and the maturity and other terms thereof, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to participate in the State Revolving Loan Fund SRLF RSA 486.14 established for this purpose, and to allow the Board of Selectmen to accept such monies as become available from federal and state government, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to take any action or to pass any other votes related thereto. This project was approved by the voters in 2022 in the amount of $430,290, warrant Article 14, with $231,203 in bonds or notes and $199,087 in funds from the American Rescue Act. This warrant article, if approved, will provide the additional funds needed to complete the project. At this time, there is no estimated tax rate because we haven't decided on the bond. The Board of Selectmen recommended it 5-0. It's recommended by the Budget Committee 7-1, and 3/5 majority vote is required. The Port Wetland Bond warrant article is seeking additional funds for a new plan to upgrade the town's drainage system to handle a 10-year storm instead of a 1-year storm. The upgraded town drainage system will capture storm water on Winter Haven Road and the surrounding roads, which are all town-owned. The storm water will be sent through catch basins before it empties into Wolfeboro Harbor. The Wolfeboro Waters Committee supports this project because it reduces the nutrient load going into Winter Harbor. And with this, I will turn it over to Steve Randall.
Thanks, Linda. So I'll cover the warrant article that was presented in 2022. This did come in front of you in 2022. for a total project cost of $430,290. Unfortunately, as we got into the further engineering and design phase of the project, we learned that it was inadequate and it wouldn't do anything and give us the intended results. Therefore, we engaged a new engineer, we re-engineered the project, and as a result, we made some changes. Our problem here is the original design was inadequate based on the significant grades, essentially had a straight culvert going into Winter Harbor. So we re-engineered the project, as Linda said, 10-year storms, the goal of reducing pollution through runoff into Winter Harbor. It's mostly concentrated within the town road right of way, but there is some easement documents that we need to secure that we're working on now to make this project happen. Currently, it is damaging the waterfront, and we're working on an agreement with the Property Owners Association in Port Wetland to get this project finalized. Steve will go through the solution as we move forward. Steve?
So this new design is going to upgrade the initial original 24-inch diameter culvert to a 36-inch diameter culvert. It's going to include a series of step downs, catch basins, which will reduce the force of the water as it proceeds down the hill. Also, hopefully, will catch sediment before it runs and takes into the lake. We're working with the Property Owners Association and Stantec Engineering to develop that concept with DES on the permitting. It's currently under DES review right now. We've also applied for additional RSLF funds and ARPA grants. We are also currently securing all the easements needed for it as well. The association from Port Wetland has agreed with a financial commitment in an MOU that is in draft form as we speak. The original construction schedule was going to be in the summer of '22 and fall and winter of '22. With these new redesigns and everything that is currently underway, we're looking to bid this in the winter and spring of '24 for construction in fall of '24. So, as I said before, so this is now going to be a closed 36-inch diameter with drop manholes. We have an additional 18-inch closed pipe system along Winter Haven Road above to Lloyd Road. Concrete head walls with riprap aprons, and we'll scour protection at the outlet. Reconstruction of the roadside swale with riprap along Winter Haven Road and Lloyd Road to accommodate the 10-year design flow and under drain up to Bernard Drive. Reconstruction of the driveway culverts along Winter Haven, Lloyd Road to Bernard, also accommodate the 10-year flow. An offline stormwater quality tank such as Vortec 3000 or equal will treat and consist of any original design concepts. The town will be doing all the maintenance on this after the construction is complete. Catch basin cleaning, Vortec cleaning. Drainage ditches.
So the funding for this is laid out in 2022. The town, you, the voters, authorized the Board of Selectmen to borrow $231,203. That authorization is still in place. We did receive a ARPA grant, which we've been using for engineering, for $199,087. Estimated project costs, again, are $1,200,000. Working with Port Wetland Association for a contribution of $100,000 over the next 7-year period, and loan forgiveness may be contemplated if we do this through the State Revolving Loan Fund. The chart to the right outlines the 2024 request for this project, estimated at $1.2 million. It shows the previous authorization to borrow. It shows the grant funding, and that's how we get to the balance of $769,710 that we're requesting for bonding going forward. We did hold the public input session on the bond hearing on January 3rd, 2024. Board of Selectmen are in discussions regarding the bond. We did just get word today that we can extend this to a 10-year bond, to a 20-year bond versus a 10-year bond. And the Board of Selectmen did vote in favor of this 5-0. That is the end of the Port Wetland drainage upgrades. If you have questions, strongly encourage you to reach out to Steve Randall. He would be able to answer any questions you may have. Thank you. The next article, Article 5, is the operating budget. The operating budget shall the town raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles and other appropriations voted separately, the amount set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by the vote of the first session for the purpose set forth therein totaling $34,372,097. Should this article be defeated, the operating budget shall be $33,300,799, which is the same as last year's operating budget with certain adjustments required by previous actions of the town or by law or the governing body may hold one special meeting in accordance with RSA 4013, Roman numeral 10, and Roman numeral 16 to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. Estimated tax rate impact for 2024, $6.32 per thousand of assessed valuation. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen by a vote of 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee by a vote of 7-1. Quick summary of our operating budget for 2024. The general fund, which is what makes up the taxation, is $19,818,000. The water fund is $1,785,000. The electric fund is $10,500,000. Sewer fund $1,862,000, and the Pop Whalen fund $406,000. That gets you to our total budget. If you look at the 2023 versus the 2024 budget, general fund, we're up $2,756,000. And when we began building the budget, we found estimated increases in the chart to the left. Those estimated increases were $2,500,000. As we dove into the budget, we actually came up with identified items that were $2,627,000 in a series of a few items, those being property reevaluation, personnel administration, which is insurances, ambulance service, which is a big one, and you'll see a warrant article to that as well, fire truck lease, highway supplies, tipping fees, and again, our debt service. We did take and vote some warrant articles in the past couple years, which has had an impact on our debt service to the tune of $560,000 increase. As well, we've got a couple of collective bargaining agreements that were voted on last year, and a SRO officer that was approved, and a third firefighter. So the operating budget by the general fund, if you look at this chart, you will see that 45% of our budget is made up of wages and benefits. The rest of it is those operating costs that take to run the town, maintaining the equipment, printing, travel, professional development, as well. Debt service is a big one, $2,700,000, which we really have no control over, and that's 14% of the budget. So that's a summary of the operating budget. Our next warrant article is warrant article number 6, which is town road upgrades. And Brad's going to read that into the record, and Steve Randall will speak to it. Brad?
Article 6, town road upgrades. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $700,000 for the purpose of upgrading and engineering for town roads and drainage systems. This appropriation is non-lapsing pursuant to RSA 32:7, Roman numeral 6, and shall lapse on December 31st, 2025, or upon completion of the project, whichever occurs first. The estimated tax rate impact is 29 cents per $1,000 assessed value. This is recommended by the Board of Selectmen by a vote of 5-0, and recommended by the Budget Committee by a vote of 8-0. The town has 67.5 miles of roads it maintains. This year's proposed budget for road repairs was reduced from $950,000 to $700,000, just strictly for the reason to reduce the overall budget, not because we felt there wasn't a need for the road repairs proposed. I do ask that you support this article, and I'll turn it over to our Public Works Director, Steve Randall, for further information. Thank you.
So we have approximately 67 and a half miles of town roads. 53 and a half miles are paved, 14 miles are gravel. We have an adequate base and drainage, just from years of wear and tear. Drainage is a critical part in the work plan and will be required for future to address the drainage infrastructure. Our annual road upgrade work includes, and depending on road conditions and location, we're going to follow the surface road management plan in conjunction with the water and sewer projects that we have planned in town. Culvert replacements, additional drainage, pavement overlays, reclaim and base wear coats, and rebuild our road base. Just would like to note, road construction projects are contracted out now. We do not do those in-house with the road. So our 2024 road upgrade plan is we're going to overlay Pleasant Valley Road, which will get that road to a completion point. We're going to work on the Townsend Dam outfall, which has been in need of repair for quite a few years at this point. Continue our dirt road upgrades. We're going to pave another section of Beach Pond Road. Upper Haynes Hill Road will be reclaimed in new base coat, and then just work on additional culvert replacement throughout town.
Thanks, Steve. Our next warrant article is Warrant Article 7, Ambulance Evaluation. Linda Murray is going to read it into the record, speak on its behalf, and I will read some items relative to it. Linda?
Thank you. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000 for the purpose of hiring a consultant to evaluate whether the town should operate a fire rescue department-based ambulance service or shall maintain a contract ambulance service. Estimated tax impact is 1 cent per thousand. It's recommended by the Board of Selectmen 4-1, recommended by the Budget Committee 6-2. Majority vote is required. This warrant article is being put forth by the Board of Selectmen to have a second set of independent eyes to evaluate the town's financial plan to operate its ambulance service with a fire-based department or continue to contract its ambulance service. Many privately owned ambulance services in New Hampshire are going out of business because the insurance payment for ambulance transport from an incident to the hospital have been reduced. Stewart's Ambulance Service did not bid on the town's request for a proposal in 2023 for a multi-year contract. I ask you to support this warrant article, and I'm turning it over to Jim.
Thanks, Linda. Linda hit it all. We, earlier this year, put an RFP out for ambulance services. We received 2 bids. Those bids range from $300,000 for a singular ambulance or $1.4 million for 2 ambulances, 24/7, 365, which is what we currently have. We're currently finalizing a contract with Stewart's Ambulance Service, who is our incumbent provider, based on a negotiation we've had with them. Moving forward, this is a huge decision for our community with significant financial impacts with whichever way we go. We did create a business model for this, which looked at expenses, revenues, and that came back, and one of the suggestions was that we really need to have a third set of eyes to look at that project to ensure that this is the right path for the town of Wolfeboro moving forward. If you have questions about this, you can reach out to myself or Chief Zotti at the fire department, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Our next article is Warrant Article 8, South Main Street to Center Street. South Main Street, Center Street to Smith River Bridge Sewer Engineering. Luke is going to speak on behalf of this article, and Steve Randall and myself will give some backup. Luke?
Thanks, Jim. Article 8, South Main Street, Center Street to Smith River Bridge Sewer Engineering. to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $200,000 for the purpose of engineering a replacement sewer line from South Main Street at Pickering Corner to the Smith River Bridge. This appropriation is non-lapsing pursuant to RSA 32:7 and shall lapse on December 31st, 2025, or upon completion of the project, whichever occurs first. The estimated tax rate impact for 2024 is 8 cents per thousand assessed valuation. It is recommended by the Board of Selectmen by a vote of 5-0. It is recommended by the Budget Committee by a vote of 8-0. Majority vote is required. This sewer line, the engineering of the sewer line is taking place after, in the spring of this year, we'll be starting the water line replacement from Pickering Corner down to the Smith River Bridge. So this is going to be the phase 2 in this larger scale project that the town is undergoing. These lines are aging, and they've been in the ground for many years, and the water line happens to run down the side of the road, but the sewer line runs right down the center of the road. This is an important project in upgrading our sewer in the town of Wolfeboro. It's one of the many projects over the last couple of years that we've undertaken, and it's an important project, and I hope you support it. And now I'll hand it over to Jim.
Thanks, Luke. So the map here gives you a depiction of the area in question. The arrow to your right is Pickering Corner. The arrow to the left is Smith River Bridge. The arrow in the middle is identifying where Town Hall is. As Luke said, this spring into the summer through fall, we will be doing a water line replacement in this same area. This project originally came to us as a complete streets project, which would have taken water, sewer, and stormwater and redone the entire infrastructure in one project. However, it physically could not be done. Therefore, it was broken out into 3 distinct projects. This engineering will put us in a position where we will qualify very well for state revolving loan funds and hopefully loan forgiveness moving forward. We hope you support this article. If you have questions about it, please reach out to Steve Randall or myself. This is really one of the big articles planning for our future. Thank you. Next warrant article is Article 9, Maplewood Highland Terrace Water Line. Dave Senecal is going to read this into the record, and Steve Randall and I will present the backup.
Article 9 is the Maplewood Highland Terrace water main installation to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $200,000 for the purpose of installing 800 feet of new 8-inch water line between Maplewood and Highland Terrace. This appropriation is non-lapsing pursuant to RSA 32:7(6) and shall lapse on December 31st, 2025 upon completion of the project, whichever occurs first. This project shall be paid by the Water Enterprise Fund and will not result in any increase in the tax rate. This is a water main that will connect the North Main Street and Maplewood subdivision and create a loop that will help with pressure problems that they've been having.
So system currently is a dead-end water main. We have a year-round bleed up there. It contributes to loss of treated water in the area, which is currently has a water runoff issue. So this solution will secure the easements across private property for installation of the new line, create a loop, and then we'll eliminate the need for that year-end bleed and reduction of treated water loss. It should improve the water quality and fire suppression capabilities, and costs are accounted in the 2024 water rate study under review right now by Underwood Engineers.
So this map shows an approximation of where the water line will go. If I'm correct, Steve, the water line on the Maplewood side, that is the section of road that you guys did not do, correct?
Correct.
So this will not dig up any new roadway whatsoever. And this is a close-up of the easement plan, which is already in the process of engineering, so it depicts in the green where that easement would run across the private properties and get back onto town line. We hope you support this article. Any questions, please feel free to reach out to Steve Randall or myself. Next article is Article 10, Jockey Cove Engineering. Linda Murray is going to present this, and I'll speak on its behalf.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $20,000 for the purpose of engineering a drainage system from Sewell Road down the Jockey Cove side of Forest Road to the Carry, map and lot 228-048. This appropriation is non-lapsing pursuant to RSA 32:76 and shall lapse on December 31st, 2025, or upon completion of the project, whichever occurs first. Further, to authorize the Board of Selectmen to accept monies as they become available from federal and state governments or through donations, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to take any other action or to pass any other vote related thereto, and to authorize the town manager to sign any relating documents. Estimated tax impact 2024, 1 cent per thousand, recommended by the Board of Selectmen 5-0, recommended by the Budget Committee 8-0, majority vote required. The Jockey Cove engineering warrant article will fund the engineered drainage system design for from Sewell Road down Forest on the Jockey Cove side to the Carry. Jockey Cove has experienced several cyanobacteria outbreaks over the last few years. An engineered drainage system will help reduce the nutrient load into Jockey Cove. The Wolfeboro Waters Committee supports this warrant article and supports Wolfeboro's efforts to address stormwater to reduce the amount of nutrients going into our lakes, ponds, streams, wetlands, and wetlands buffer. I ask you to support this warrant article.
Thanks, Linda. So we've got a documented problem here with water quality issues. E. coli, cyanobacteria. We have installed the low-pressure sewer line, which will be online next spring. That will hopefully alleviate some of our E. coli issues. We have a municipal culvert that's draining town-owned wetlands through an easement. The culvert requires replacement. We as the town can replace it in kind, but in kind doesn't do us any good in improving water quality. Therefore, we're looking for some engineering. Once that engineering is done, we would propose a solution as part of the 2025 operating budget. This is a map of the area. The top of the screen is Forest Road. The green to the right, that's the wetland area. And then there's a culvert, which you can see in the yellow highlights, 15-inch culvert that runs across private property. We do currently have an easement for that. There are no structures involved with this at the inlet. There is a small catch basin at the red dot in the Carry, which is really ineffective, and then there's another culvert which leads into Jockey Cove. There's literally very little pitch on this, and we do believe that this is probably our best solution to replace this as is, but with adding some structures into it to treat water. We'll see what the engineering report brings back and move forward with the project in 2024, we're hopeful. If you have questions, please reach out, and we'll try to answer any questions you may have. Article 11, Municipal Electric Truck. This is going to be presented by Brian, and Barry's going to speak on its behalf. Brian?
Article 11, Municipal Electric Bucket Truck Replacement. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $400,000 for the purpose of replacing the 2014 Municipal Electric Department ME3 bucket truck and associated equipment. The amount of $400,000 shall be funded from the Electric Enterprise Fund. This appropriation is non-lapsant pursuant to RSA 32:7, Roman numeral 6, and shall lapse on December 31st, 2025, or upon completion of the project, whichever occurs first. The project shall be paid by the Electric Enterprise Fund and will not result in any increase to the tax rate. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen by a vote of 5-0, recommended by the Budget Committee by a vote of 8-0, majority vote required.
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon. Barry Muccio, Wolfeboro Electric. As you know, we have 2 bucket trucks, so it is definitely one of our primary used vehicles, used daily for emergency response, new construction and maintenance. Some statistics on the existing truck. It's a 55-foot material handler. It will be it is 10 years old, actually. Mileage is 72,000 with 6,500 hours. And our year-to-date repair cost, it's actually even higher than that to this date. We're pushing $39,000 in our year-to-date maintenance costs. So the problem is it's reaching its end of its useful life. Its dependability has been somewhat in question. And as you are aware, it is critical to our day-to-day operations. One of the things we're dealing with right now is some of the supply chain issues in getting a new truck. We're looking at 2 years to get a new truck in, so that's one of the issues we're dealing with. We got to get this thing, up and rolling and get one ordered to maintain our 10-year cycle of new vehicles. It is being funded by the electric department. These trucks are already built into our rates for a 10-year plan, so there's no escalation in tax rate. There's no escalation in your existing electric rate. They're already built in. And just here's a couple photos highlighting some of the rust issues we're seeing with the 10-year-old truck. I appreciate your support on this one. Thank you.
Thanks, Barry. Article 12 is the Parks and Recreation Tractor. Luke is going to present, and Christine Collins, Director of Parks and Rec, will speak on its behalf. Luke?
Thanks, Jim. Article number 12, Parks and Recreation Tractor Purchase. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 for the purpose of purchasing a new Parks and Recreation tractor with attachments. Estimated tax rate impact for 2024 is 4 cents per 1,000 assessed valuation. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen by a vote of 3-2. Not recommended by the Budget Committee by a vote of 5-3. Majority vote required. Wolfeboro has the unique opportunity to have many recreational facilities that provide the residents and visitors a great opportunity when they come here to enjoy the outdoors here in Wolfeboro, and a lot of really good summer programs. With all those venues and all those programs comes the responsibility for upkeep. This tractor will provide the department with the ability to tackle a lot of the smaller projects that they would rely on other departments for. And it will also enhance their capabilities to take care of the beaches in a timely fashion, to remove snow from the new Pop Whalen Ice and Arts Center, and to assist in many of the other activities. The Parks and Rec Department does a phenomenal job in a lot of different areas that we don't often think about. They take care of cemeteries, and they take care of our sports fields, obviously Abenaki. With all those parks and facilities, it requires implements to get the job done. I'm now going to turn this over to Christine Collins.
Thanks, Luke. Yes, like Luke stated, our department is responsible for a lot of facilities. We manage the beaches, the parks, the cemeteries, Pop Whalen and Abenaki, just to name the few. And we have, in the past, been able to borrow some equipment, but we're finding with the staff we have and the projects we have that it is more efficient for us to have a piece of equipment that we are able to use in a timely manner without having to wait for it. In particular, Cary Beach itself, with raking of the beaches, we often have a lot of debris that needs to be picked up, and we have a pile sitting there until we can get to it and have a piece of equipment. So we're hoping to have your support on this because it could really help not only in the summer but in the winter as well. And we hope that you support this project because we feel very strongly about it. Thank you.
Article 13 is police vehicle replacement. Brian DeShays is going to read it into the record, and Chief Chase is here to speak on its behalf. Brian?
Warrant Article Number 13, Police Vehicle Replacement. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $74,000 for the purchase of a police cruiser replacement vehicle and ancillary vehicle equipment with $3,000 from the Police Detail Revolving Fund created by Article 23 in 2006, which has accumulated from special details. Estimated tax rate impact for 2024, 3 cents per thousand assessed value. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen by a vote of 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee by a vote of 5-3. Majority vote required. I did a little bit of calculations, and our vehicles, our police cruisers, last a minimum of 10 years. A lot of them go into 12 years. They average 12,822 miles per year. Plus, we have to realize that in inclement weather, they're idling for long periods of time, and they have to be on details, and they're idling for long periods of time. So they get much more use even than that 12,822 miles per year. And I've looked at some of the vehicles when they're at their end of their useful life, and they are at the end of their useful life. And Chief Stu Chase is here to speak on this article.
Thank you, Brian. The department lost 2 10-year-old vehicles in late August of 2023 when they failed safety inspections due to excessive body rot causing loss of structural integrity. 4 vehicles in our existing fleet are 8 years old and have well over 100,000 miles on them. This warrant article is consistent with regularly scheduled vehicle replacement plans, with the exception of seeking but one of the 2 vehicles decommissioned in 2023. The request includes the cost of outfitting the vehicle with safety and security equipment regularly used in the public safety mission. The warrant article proposal includes the application of $3,000 from the Police Detail Revolving Fund to offset the cost. And I thank you for your thoughtful consideration on this article.
Our next article is Article 14, Public Works Vehicle Equipment Replacement Capital Reserve Fund. Dave Senecal is going to read the article, speak to it, and Steve Randall will give some background information. Dave?
Article 14, Public Works Vehicles and Equipment Replacement Capital Reserve Fund. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $380,000 to be added to the existing Public Works Vehicles and Equipment Capital Reserve Fund, which is under the custody of the trustees of trust funds, which selectmen designated as agents to expend. The estimated tax rate impact for 2024 is 16 cents per thousand. Recommended by the Board of Selectmen on 5-0. Recommended by the Budget Committee on a vote of 8-0. Majority vote required. In 2023, anticipated CRF balance is $96,000. Steve?
Thank you. So the problem we have is we have a very large fleet. So this capital reserve fund spans the highway department, the solid waste department, and the highway garage. So, and right now we have an excess of $5 million in equipment and machinery. So the solution to this was to create the capital reserve fund to fund the replacements. Inventory of vehicles and equipment with current replacements costs, as I said, of over $5 million. This request this year was $380,000, which is an $80,000 increase over 2023. And the goal is to keep the appropriation at no more than $390 through 2028. So this plan is developed, mirrors the one created by the fire department. Plan covers replacement of 30 items over the next 11 years. Anticipated costs of $4.5 million with 2024 pricing. In 2024, we're looking to replace HD7, which is our oldest 6-wheel dump truck, and HD16, which we are going to replace with a joint purchase with the water department. So HD7 has been in service since 2004. It has an excess of 155,000 miles on it. The motor was rebuilt in 2018. Body was replaced roughly 2016. Right now, that is assigned to South Wolfeboro, plows Pleasant Valley Road, Middleton Road, Springfield Point, Oakwood. HD 16 has been in service since 2001, has excess of 15,000 miles. That is being replaced, like I said, with the joint venture with the Water Department. HD 16 at this point is actually decommissioned and out of service. So this is a very important project for us to keep up with replacing this equipment to try to keep our replacement costs and our maintenance costs at a low level. So I appreciate your support on this project.
Thanks, Steve. Our next article is Article 15, Building Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund. Brian will read it in, speak to it, and I'll speak on behalf of the article. Brian?
Warrant Article Number 15, Building Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be added to the existing Building Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund, which is under the custody of the trustees of the trust fund, with selectmen designated as agents to expend this capital reserve fund. Estimated tax rate impact 2024 is 2 cents per $1,000 assessed valuation, recommended by the Board of Selectmen by a vote of 5-0, recommended by the Budget Committee by a vote of 8-0, majority vote required. The 2023 anticipated CRF balance is $51,000.
Thanks, Brian. So what we have here is capital reserve fund for emergency repairs on buildings. The town's responsible for 31 buildings that it oversees. Most departments do try to maintain those buildings through their normal operating budget. However, there are building system problems that occur throughout the year. If those system problems, whether it's HVAC, cooling, heating, ventilation, roof repairs, plumbing, electrical costs, if those are anything outside of the normal operating budget, it can put a hamper on department's normal operations. So if these events take place, we can come to the Board of Selectmen, ask for authorization to use these capital reserve funds in place of unanticipated repairs, which may take place throughout the year. We appreciate your support on this continued warrant article. Our next article is number 16, Water Resources Non-Capital Reserve Funding, and Linda Murray will speak on its behalf. Linda?
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $50,000 to be added to the existing non-capital reserve fund, which are under the custody of the trustees of trust fund, with the selectmen as agents to expend from this non-capital reserve fund. Estimated tax impact for 2024, 2 cents per thousand, recommended by the Board of Selectmen 5-0, recommended by the Budget Committee 8-0. Majority votes required. 2023 anticipated capital reserve balance is $136,000. The Water Reserve Non-Capital Reserve Fund allows the town to save funds to address water quality issues. The Wolfeboro Waters Committee is monitoring 7 projects to ensure best management practices are used and that the most effective infiltration systems will be included. The projects being monitored at this time are the upgrades to Route 28 drainage system, a solution to the Beaver Dam washout on Russ Pond, a solution to the stormwater runoff in the Kingswood Acres area, and in the stormwater runoff issue affecting Whitegate Road. All of these future projects may use funds from the Water Resource Non-Capital Reserve Fund. I ask you to support this warrant article.
Thank you, Linda. Warrant Article 17, Abenaki Ski Area Capital Reserve Fund. Dave Senecal is going to speak to this, as is Chuck Smith. Dave?
Article 17, Abenaki Ski Area Capital Reserve Funding. See if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be added to the existing Abenaki Capital Reserve Fund, which is under the custody of the trustees of trust funds, with selectmen designated as agents to expend. Estimated tax rate impact, 1 cent per thousand, recommended by the selectmen, 5-0, recommended by the Budget Committee, 8-0, majority vote required. This year, we have approximately $79,000 in this fund. This will be added to that. Chuck?
So with the fund going in, the $25,000, we're trying to raise enough funds, hope to replace the existing groomer we have. Many repairs have been done so far this year, and I think so far, in the last 4 years, we spent probably $75,000 on that groomer. And then the latest bill hasn't come in yet. But as you can see, there's a crack frame that we jacked up and made a plate that was actually cracked all the way through. And under the cab, we had another 8 spots where we had a weld. And also, if you look at the new tracks that are on there, we replaced 3 sets of the bogey wheels. It's getting old and it's time to replace it. That's the only groomer we have to take care of Abenaki.
Thanks, Chuck. And that machine has in excess of 10,500 hours. The Budget Committee did recommend that going forward, we look at lease purchase options, which we'll be doing throughout the year when some of the larger ski areas return their machines or trade machines in. Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you.
Article 18 is the Tree Removal and Replacement Expendable Trust Fund. Brad will speak on behalf, and Steve Randall. Brad?
Article 18, Tree Removal and Replacement Expendable Trust Fund, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $25,000 to be placed in the existing Tree Removal and Replacement Expendable Trust Fund, which is under the custody of the trustees of trust funds of the selectmen designated as agents to expend. Estimated tax rate impact for 2024 is 1 cent per thousand, recommended by the Board of Selectmen by a vote of 5-0, recommended by the Budget Committee by a vote of 7-1, majority vote is required. 2023 anticipated capital reserve fund balance is $36,000. Last year, the voters supported establishing an expendable trust with $125,000. Everyone probably has noticed the removal of the diseased and dying trees along South Main Street this past summer and fall. There's still a large number of trees to be removed in the years to come. I ask that you support this warrant article, and I'll turn this over to our Public Works Director, Steve Randall.
Thank you, Brad. So last year, we concentrated mostly on South Wolfeboro, from Pickering Corner down along the South Main line, removed many dead and diseased trees, followed down by Pleasant Valley Road. So next year, or in 2024, we're looking to continue the South Wolfeboro area, Middleton Road, and any of the other surrounding roads down on that line. You can find this inventory at the library, or there is a link during this presentation if you'd like to see. All the trees have markings on them that have been identified in the Bartlett Tree Survey, and we look forward to your support. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Article 19, Wastewater Treatment Plant Capital Reserve Fund. Linda's going to read and speak to this article, and I'll speak to particulars. Linda?
Article 19, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $175,000 to be added to the existing wastewater treatment plant capital reserve fund, which is under the custody of the trustees of trust funds, with the selectmen designated as agents to expend this capital reserve fund. This appropriation will come from taxation. Estimated tax rate impact 2024, 7 cents per thousand of assessed valuation. Recommended from the selectmen 5-0, from the Budget Committee 8-0. Majority vote required. 2023 appropriation left is about $7,000. In 2024, the voters approved the wastewater treatment plant capital reserve fund for the purpose of making needed repairs and improvements to the town's wastewater treatment plant, including architectural and engineering fees, cost of rehabilitation, construction, and reconstruction of the facility. By making these incremental improvements, the town has been able to continue to use its 40-plus-year-old wastewater treatment plant. In 2016, the plant received the New Hampshire Water Pollution Control Association Wastewater Treatment Plant of the Year. This year's appropriation will allow the town to continue upgrading its wastewater treatment plant, and I ask for your support on this warrant article. Jim?
Thanks, Linda. One thing of note here, wastewater sewer capital projects, for those who may not be aware in the community, due to the small number of users that we have on our sewer system, these capital costs are covered by general taxation. So that's why you'll see a tax rate impact on any sewer capital project. When I met with the contracted operator to go through the 2024 contract and proposed upgrades to the plant, they had estimated $250,000 worth of upgrades. When we discussed it through further, we were able to bring that down to $175,000 for the year. That's what we're asking for this year, is $175,000 as we continue to move forward in preparation of a plant renovation and upgrade. I would note that the items that you see to the left, the electrical upgrades, the aeration blower and valves, the phase catwalk replacement, the spray irrigation improvements, and the RIB pump rebuilds, these are all items that will not have to be taken out when we get to the point of doing a plant upgrade. These are all things that can be kept in place and continue to improve what we're putting out for product at the wastewater treatment plant. We hope you support this article. So the next article will be Article 20, bingo. Brian is going to present, and Christine will speak on its behalf. Brian?
So warrant article number 20, bingo. Shall we adopt the provisions of RSA 287E relative to the conduct of games of bingo and the sale of Lucky 7 tickets? So RSA, so everybody understands, RSA 287E :27. Any city or town desiring to adopt the provisions of RSA 287E may do so by presenting the following question to voters. Shall we adopt the provisions of RSA 287E relative to the conduct of games of bingo and sale of Lucky 7 tickets? The ballot containing the question shall include 2 squares next to the question, allowing the voter to vote yes or no. If no cross is made in either square, the ballot will not be counted on the question. If a majority of those voting on the question vote yes, RSA 287E shall apply within the city or town.
Thanks, Brian. Christine Collins with Wolfeboro Parks and Recreation. So we previously had written a letter to the New Hampshire Lottery to get permission from them as well. And in order to do this, we need it from the voters. But the permission that was granted was for us to host a senior citizens bingo, which means that anyone entering the facility has to be 55 years or older. And it's to go back to the seniors. So it's they pay for squares with cash, and then the money goes back to them in prizes. There is limits on how much a particular game can be, which we will follow those rules, but we just need this in order to offer it to our senior citizens, as Parks and Rec has taken over the management of programs for seniors. So we really would love your support on this. Thank you so much.
Article 21, Historic Society Lease. Brad's going to read the article, speak to it, and I'll give some background information. Brad?
Thank you, Jim. Article 21, Historical Society Lease. To see if the town will vote to lease the Clark Museum Complex to include buildings and land located on South Main Street, Wolfeboro Tax Map 231, Lot Number 54, to the Wolfeboro Historical Society. a New Hampshire nonprofit corporation, for a period of 10 years with the option of the Historical Society to renew the lease for a second 10-year term, and to authorize the Board of Selectmen to negotiate the terms and conditions of said lease. This lease shall become effective on or about July 30th, 2026, and shall expire on or about July 29th, 2036. The option renewal period would be negotiated by the Board of Selectmen and would run from on or about July 30th, 2036, and shall expire on or about July 29th of 2046. The area to be leased shall be 49,407 square feet, bound by East Clark Road, the sidewalk along South Main Street, Clark Road, and the Clark Park parking lot. The parking lot is excluded from this lease. Estimated tax rate impact for 2024 is 0, recommended by the Board of Selectmen by a vote of 5-0. Majority vote is required. Pretty much as stated in the warrant article there, this current lease will expire in 2026. There'll be a 10-year lease with the option to extend for another 10 years. I ask that you support this warrant article, and I'll turn it over to Jim for further details.
Thanks, Brad. This is a topographical view of the area to be leased. Basically falls within the fence line of the Historical Society at Clark Park on South Main Street. Interesting note, the Historical Society has had a 100-year lease with the town. That is coming due in 2026. Myself and Christine Collins have been working with the Historical Society. We have a draft lease, which we are hopeful will be pretty streamlined in getting this completed upon voter approval. We look forward to your support on this great partnership as we move forward. Our next article is Article 2022, Pop Whalen Ice and Art Center Locker Room Leases. Luke will speak on the article, and I will follow up with anything that's required. Luke?
Thank you, Jim. Article 22, Pop Whalen Ice and Arts Center Locker Room Leases. To see if the town will authorize the Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen to extend the current 5-year locker room use agreement to enter into a 40-year locker room use agreement with Back Bay Hockey Association for exclusive rights to use one locker room at the Pop Whalen Ice and Arts Center, to enter into a 40-year locker room use agreement with the Friends of Kingswood Hockey for exclusive rights to use 2 locker rooms at the Pop Whalen Ice and Arts Center, and to enter into a 40-year locker room use agreement with Brewster Academy for exclusive rights to use 2 locker rooms at the Pop Whalen Ice and Arts Center. These locker room use agreements extension will not impact the tax rate. So the estimated tax rate impact is 0 cents. There's no impact to the tax rate. It is recommended by the Board of Selectmen by a vote of 4-0, and majority vote is required. As a Board of Selectmen, we can only enter into a 5-year agreement, user agreement without the voters' consent. So that's why we are asking the voters to support this. These 3 users are the 3 biggest users, that being Back Bay, Kingswood, and Brewster Academy. And as part of this agreement, they have paid for the use of these rooms over the life of this time, and their benefit is to be able to have set locker rooms to use, and the benefit to the town of Wolfeboro is the income that comes in for that use. I'll now turn it over to Jim.
Thanks, Luke. So when the Pop Whalen project took off a couple years ago, one of the original plans was always to have a series of locker rooms that were dedicated to these users. Some things happened. Those didn't quite get penciled completely. And as Luke said, an article, the Board of Selectmen can only enter into a lease for up to 5 years. For your information, the Pop Whalen Ice and Art Center does have 8 locker rooms, so this will not impede the flow. This is part of the original intention that was set up when the Friends of Pop Whalen worked with the town to develop the project, bring it in front of you as the voters, and this is just bringing it to completion. The upfitting for those locker rooms was complete by each entity. It was not taxpayer dollars that paid for those upfittings, such as lockers, floor tiles, et cetera. We're hopeful that you support this so we can continue this partnership moving forward. That concludes the Board of Selectmen warrant articles. We have 3 petition warrant articles, which, Mr. Chairman, I assume we will read into the record.
So the first of our submitted by petition warrant articles, Article 23, reaffirm 2002 warrant Article 16 surplus policy. To see if the town will vote to reaffirm the 2002 warrant Article 16 surplus policy. Each year, the town shall reduce the surplus, general fund undesignated fund balance, carried over from the prior year to an amount no greater than 10% of the operating budget voted the current year by applying the excess as fund balance to reduce taxes. And further, said amounts to reduce taxes shall be affirmed, disclosed, and voted by the Board of Selectmen at a regular board meeting. Submitted by petition, there is no estimated tax rate impact on this. The next article submitted by petition, Article 24, 911 Ambulance Municipal Operations Contract. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $500,000 without further action by town meeting for the purpose of a 911 Ambulance Municipal Operations Contract should the warrant article for 2024 operating budget fail, the town enter into default budget. This warrant article shall be null and void if the town passes the 2024 operating budget warrant that includes ambulance funding, submitted by petition. The estimated tax rate impact for 2024, this would be 21 cents per thousand. And the Selectmen and Budget Committee have not voted on this.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would just note that at this time, this petition warrant article is under review by New Hampshire Department of Revenue Administration, and we're waiting for feedback from them before the board votes on it. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last one, Article 25, to rescind and abolish the Wolfeboro Police Commission 2024. Shall the voters of the town of Wolfeboro vote to rescind and abolish the Wolfeboro Police Commission pursuant to New Hampshire RSA 105-C:7 to be effective upon the passage of this article, submitted by petition? There is no tax rate impact on this article, and there is no vote taken by the selectmen on this. And that will conclude our warrant articles. I appreciate everybody that's watching this on television as is be broadcast, and remind everybody again that our deliberative session will be on February 6th, right here at the town hall, and our voting booths will be set up for all the voting on all these warrant articles and our budget on March 12th. Hope everybody can attend these and look forward to it. Thank you.